day 87, only 10 days left to go, and just wanted to show just how healthy and vigorous the plant still is. I mean, I'm cutting tertiaries like crazy, or pretty much deadheading any vine. Definitely powder mildew has started in the older leaves, and that's fine. It's is what it is, but you can see over there there's still a lot of fresh leaves because all the vigorous growth of this plant happened honestly like 60 days after pollination. Very, very bizarre. And the pumpkin is, I haven't measured it in about 10 days, maybe closer to a week. So I'm gonna do that now. We'll see where it's at, but just visually looking at it, I think it looks like it should be and the color is still really cool. So I think that's gonna carry all the way into the way up. You can see a few sort of growth cracks, you know, right there. That's a growth crack, which is kind of stuff that's been showing up recently, and then some of the cantalouping and some of the texture that you can see, and that's all natural, part of the process. Well, I had to use the painter's tape to hold up the tape measure while I measured, which is always a good sign. But one thing that I noticed here that's not so good is there's a little, you can see my mouse trap there, but there's a little hole going through, not through the pumpkin, but through the sand. The whole reason I have 3 of these foam pieces is because the day I put the pumpkin on the foam, it had gotten too big for me to lift by myself and slide the big wide piece of 4-foot foam under, so I had to break it. And then as it's grown, the pumpkin spread the foam out. So now there's like a perfect little passage for the mice to get in. And looks right now like they're just passing through. Haven't caught a mouse at this pumpkin, but it's definitely making me nervous because I just don't know what's going on under there. If it were really bad, the pumpkin would have stopped growing, which it hasn't. It's still growing. But yeah, mouse biting the bottom of the pumpkin can essentially turn it into mush pretty quick. I'm just crawling through all the leaves here because I'm still finding holes like this. This one's basketball size. It slipped past me, and I can see another one down in there that looks pretty big. So I'm still pulling pumpkins. This thing's been pushing out pumpkins left and right still. Definitely starting to feel like fall here at the second patch. We did some harvesting. So these are the gourds and the little white pumpkins and the French pumpkins and the jack-o'-lantern Howden pumpkins. So really the only thing that's left out here are a few field pumpkins. There's one there, there's one there. And then what's left is the Atlantic giant plant, and the pumpkin itself I think is pretty close to being about done. Here's one more field pumpkin right there. So really this whole area was just kind of a test because I'm thinking of growing some big pumpkins here next year, and I wanted to see how things would grow in this soil. I'll get a soil test as well, but and expand the overall size, but things did pretty good. The soil quality seems pretty good. So yeah, that's what's left. And all right, this is much overdue. This is where the 1634 plant was with the pumpkin that aborted actually quite a while ago. Should have taken this plant out pretty much right away, but I just didn't get to it. That's the plant itself. Basically, this bucket, I got a couple forks on it, so I'm able to get pretty much the whole plant, or what was left of the plant, up on to the bucket. And normally I think it'd be fine to compost all this material as long as you get your compost pile hot enough. But just since I don't know really what was in it, I don't want any risk of that getting into the compost and therefore back into the soil. So I'm gonna just take this out in the field and dump it. I know he's stubborn because he's over here eating the pumpkin vines, which he definitely doesn't like. Neither of them do.